Hello paper crafters, I'm Sunny Sky, and today I'm showing you a technique that you can use with any stamp set. My stamp club is not meeting this month because of social distancing, so I'm providing kits where they can use a stamp set they already have on hand, and we're working on techniques. Here are the cardstock sizes that you'll need for today's card. So we're doing paper piecing strips for this card, so you can choose the orange selections and just look in the description box for those colors. And then here are our blue/green choices. And I'm going to make some strips 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1 inch. And I'm just using the cutting guide on the left side of this page. Now we do not need quite this many, but I will want to be able to choose my colors as I go along. So I'm making a few extra. And I am cutting through 2 colors of cardstock at once. This cutter can handle that, and if you're working with Whisper White or very vanilla cardstock that's a little thinner, you can put 3 or even 4 sheets together. Okay, so we've got our strips here. I want to do different colors next to each other and different widths next to each other. So maybe I'll go with the wider width here. And these are all the same length, but I'm going to cut down some of the lengths, and I'm also going to alternate where I place them. I've put some temporary adhesive on just a sheet of copy paper, a scrap of copy paper that I've made a little bit smaller than my card front, and I'm going to line up these papers, these cardstock strips, on this piece of copy paper, and just I'm doing this so that they'll just sit still while I get this image stamped. So I've just placed that. It doesn't need to be exactly straight or exactly in the middle of that cardstock, but it looks like I did a pretty good job doing that. And because this is a soft card, I'm going to use smoky slate rather than black. And I just want to place this lady so that her head ends up being where there's actually a strip of paper, because some of my strips are a little bit shorter. And we're going to create the skyline or the water line, whatever kind of line that is. And there's also in this stamp set, oh, let me show you the set, Beautiful Moments, and it is one of our newer sets. There's an image with some of these little grass reeds, and I'm just going to create a few more around her just to create a little bit more interest in the scene there. And then the scene is kind of subtle off to the side there, and I'm going to add a greeting. On my first sample that I did, you see it ends up a little bit down lower on the cardstock, but this one's a little higher up. So we're going to go ahead and add a greeting, and we're going to do Collect Beautiful Moments, and I'm going to do that in black, so that will stand out. And I've just chosen another strip that's in my pack of papers that I cut, one of the ones that I didn't choose for the image. And I'm just going to stamp this on here, and then I'm going to add, so I barely got that, I better stamp that again. Aren't you glad cardstock has 2 sides? I am so very often. Look, I almost did it again. Okay, and then I'm going to do the birds up on here. And then maybe we'll just do a 3rd bird faded in the background there. Okay. Now, this could be just as a card, just like this, but I want to add a little bit of dimension. So every other strip, we're going to pop it up with dimensionals. And I know that I want this lady, she's kind of our focal point. I definitely want her to be popped up. So I'll start with her. then I'm going to pull this one, pop that one up. And you see this removable adhesive. You actually can create several. Do 7 or 8 cards with this adhesive without re-inking it or re-adhesifying it. And I'm going to put kind of a full strip of adhesive on here because these are not wide strips and we're putting on textured background, so I don't want them to come unstuck. So I want to make sure I get a good piece of adhesive on there. And I'm going to try and make sure that this is lined up parallel to the edge of my cardstock. And now when I come in with this one, I need to look at this one and the image next to it to make sure that my lines smashed up, because remember, I didn't line them up on the bottom. They're alternating. Some are higher, some are lower. So you got to kind of look at the stamped image to get it to line up. And you're going to do that throughout your scene as you're placing these. So I'm going to put a couple more dimensionals on this to get this popped up. I'm seeing where it's going to land on the strips and try and put those dimensionals on those strips that are already popped up. So you can see that you could do this idea with any stamp set and with any colors of cardstock. You just have them coordinating. And I'm going to be a little heavy-handed with this adhesive because it is a textured background, and so not all of it's going to touch. They're the same card with 2 different color patterns, and so and 2 different backgrounds as well. So it just gives you a different. This one's a more spiced up version just because it's the hot colors, and this is in the cool colors. The textured background is not as busy. It's more subtle. So paper piecing strips, that's our theme for today's card. I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure you try it. It's really quick and easy. And go have some fun crafting today.